Oh my gosh. Welcome to GTO Coach and Go. That is our new intro, which obviously this is the first time I've seen it. So thank you, Stevie G, for that. I really appreciate it. I'm Jim Dellerman with Group Travel Odyssey. And again, this is GTO Coach and Go. As we say every week, if you're just joining us for the first time, well, you got to see something very special today, that intro for the first time. But also, please make sure to join us on our social media channels. If you are watching us on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, if you ring the bell, you'll be notified anytime that we do have new content on our YouTube channel. You can also like our Facebook page, and you can connect with us on LinkedIn as well, Group Travel Odyssey. So make sure you do follow us on all of our social media channels. Today, we are going to be talking about office hour, or not office. Well, yeah, we are going to be talking about office hours, but we're also going to be talking about operation hours for some of our suppliers and how you would get that information into our system. We've been asked this question quite a bit, and so we are going to be bringing on our support helmsman, Taylor Kaufman. So, hey, Taylor, how are you?
I am great, Jim. I am still dying laughing from that intro.
I know. Again, that was quite the surprise, and obviously my whistling skill needs a little help. But
I think it was great. I didn't know I was going to be in it either, so that was a surprise.
I know, big surprise for all of us.
Oh
So
my gosh.
I'm glad that we have that, and I'm sure there'll be more surprises throughout these next few months as well. So
Absolutely.
Taylor, today we're going to be discussing. Operating hours. And so, and I also mentioned office hours as well. So I know that those are two things that you've been working on. And so what's going on with office hours?
Yeah, I'm really excited. Today's topic came directly from an office hour session. We did our first week last week, so we got to talk with some of our members about ways they're using the system, get some great feedback from them, troubleshoot any issues that they might have. Been very successful so far. We actually have a few things in development, ideas from our members already that we think are going to be very useful for everyone using the system. I just wanted to remind everybody too that if you are scheduled for office hours, you get a reminder email the morning of. And with that email, you can confirm your attendance and submit any topics that you might want to discuss later in that afternoon. So definitely be checking your email for those reminders.
Sounds great. Sounds fantastic. And, again, we want to try to help everybody out as much as possible. And so obviously we do cherish your feedback, and a lot of improvements and a lot of things that we've done within our system have happened because of the feedback from our members. So keep that feedback coming too. So Taylor, what are we going to discuss today?
So we are going to discuss operating hours of suppliers and how to best get that information into the system so that you can use it when you're building trips.
Okay. And what, just as a just as a question I know that does come up all the time, why don't we put in operating hours for the suppliers when we're putting supplier information in?
That's a great question. We do get that quite often. I know that it is something that a lot of members have said might be useful. Unfortunately, we do have about 18,000 suppliers in our system, and whereas pricing might change once, maybe twice a year at most, hours of operation, especially in the past few years, we've seen change constantly. Closures are happening left and right. Different holidays are observed by some suppliers and not others. And so it would just be extremely difficult to keep that information as accurate as we would want for our users and our members to use. So, our pricing we can keep that as accurate as possible. Hours of operation, not so much.
Right, right. And so how are we going to be dealing with that? How can they put in hours of operation?
Absolutely. I actually have some examples. I will go ahead and share my screen. We are going to be looking at Supplier Manager. I have pulled up the Johnny Cash Museum as an example here. And if you'll notice, underneath all of this, contact information, address, phone numbers, things like that, there is a button and a section that is for adding information. So that is where we're going to be using our operating hours. So if you go to a website in your research, if this is, there's two different really ways that this could be useful. If you're in a research stage and you're in Supplier Manager and you really want to save that operating hour information, this is a great usage of that. If this is a supplier that you use in a template and you use all the time and you know that you just need to have that information handy, also a great use of it. So I've gone to the Johnny Cash Museum and found their operating hours. All I'm going to do is click on this Add Information button. I'm going to select myself as the record creator. The other nice part about adding this information is that it will be member specific. So if I, as a Group Travel Odyssey member, am adding information, or if, our Awesome Travel Company user is adding information, then only people from the Awesome Travel Company are going to be able to see these notes. So you can make it as proprietary and specific as you would like. We're going to select a note type as well. So for operating hours, we definitely want to just put in a general note. If you see there are tour director notes, driver notes, those will pull to different parts of the system, so that, as you're assigning tour directors or compiling driver information, that happens along with it. So we're going to use this general note so we know that this is operating hours. I am going to go ahead and copy that information from the website and just paste it in the box there. And we have the supplier name already. If you want to set an expiration date, you can. Typically, what I would suggest is if there's not one notated on the website, to just set it for the end of the year. And then you can even select a specific trip product. If there are hours that only apply to certain tours that an attraction might do or things like that, you can actually select a trip product from the drop-down menu, and that will be added specifically for that trip product. But for this one, we're just going to add it for the supplier in general, and I'm going to save and close this. And you can see it created a report of this information that I input. So now when I go back to the supplier page, it shows right here for me. So when you are in that research stage of building a trip, these kinds of notes will be available to you when you click on those suppliers that you might use, and you can see right here very easily what those operating hours might be. Now, yes, and it's very useful not just for operating hours, but any information that you might have regarding a supplier. There are some examples of suppliers that might already have operating hour information in it, but they are very specific types. So I did want to walk through that briefly as well. Now, when we do input that kind of information, it is going to be in the pricing description of a specific trip product. So this will not be information you'll be able to find on the main supplier page, but rather when you go in to build a trip, it will be listed in the pricing description of a specific trip product. One of those examples are things like music festivals that only happen maybe one weekend out of the year. So I have selected Southern Star Music Festival as an example here, and I've already gone to the pricing information here. So when I scroll down, you can see we've got some application fees, things like that, basic performer festival packages. Now, if I scroll over to where the pricing description is, you will see for this one specifically, basic performer festival, and then underneath it has the dates of that festival listed. This is one example of when our system will keep track of dates, operating hours, specifically for things that might only happen once or twice a year. So those kinds of things will be available to you. No worries. There are definitely instances in which we will keep track of that information for you, because that is extremely important. We would not want you to schedule a package for this music festival on a weekend when it's not happening. So we definitely keep that information as available to you as possible. And then the other example of when you might see some hours of operation are some of our bigger restaurant chains. Bigger restaurants chains, maybe not the smaller restaurants. Sometimes, though, if the information is provided, they will have things like a specific lunch menu or a specific dinner menu. And for those restaurants, those menus only operate during specific hours of the day. So that is reflected in the pricing descriptions for those trip products. I've chosen Hard Rock Cafe Atlanta as our example here. And if you scroll down, to where their pricing is, you will see that this youth gold menu, for example, it's a lunch menu, so it's only served between 11 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. And all of these are going to have that kind of information in it, if they are lunch or dinner specific. So some of them you see are not, but the ones that are notated with the hours that they are served. So that way, when you are building your trip, you are not scheduling any kind of meal package when it's not actually offered. So again, a few different instances in which you will see hours of operation, but it is not going to be necessarily across the board. It's just going to be for those specific instances where it is direly important to the trip product that you're scheduling when you're building your trip.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's great.
Yes. So between those two, between being able to add your notes on each specific supplier and finding those examples where that information is available to you, it is fairly easy to keep track of operating hours on our system, even though it's not something that we regularly update.
And I know, I know we have some things in the works as well, as far as where those notes go and how to view those notes. So right now, those notes are viewed in Supplier Manager. So to go into that supplier record, you would be able to see the note as Taylor is showing you right now. But what do we have in the works?
Absolutely. So we have gotten some feedback specifically from our members from our office hours program, that they would like to see this information while they are building a trip. And we completely agree. Right now, as Jim said, it really is only on the supplier page. So what we are planning on doing in the works, in development for you folks, is when you go into your proposal and you're going to add your trip products. So I've selected my test trip here. I am going to go in where I would normally add a trip product. And when I pull down a supplier name and a product, you can see it pulls up quite a bit of information, but it does not pull over those notes from Supplier Manager currently. However, that is something that we are working on. So there will eventually be a field at this form right here, along with all of this great information, where it will pull your notes over to Sales Manager so that while you're building the trip, as you're adding trip products, you are seeing those operating hours pop up. So that way, when you're, selecting day blocks or meals, you can accurately place those trip products in your itinerary. And even at that proposal stage, you have a fairly accurate schedule. So by the time that it goes over to operations and trip manager, those estimated times of bookings and, as you're going through the process of booking trip products, you'll have a much tighter itinerary right from the get-go that's really not going to need much alteration because you'll be able to see those operating hours when you're scheduling those trip products. Now, the other thing I want to add too is if you notice when we were adding that information for the Johnny Cash Museum, I mentioned that you can even select a trip product that information will be assigned to. So we have our generic notes that, like I put in for the Johnny Cash Museum, those are just the hours of operations of the museum. So any trip products under that, apply to that information. However, if you do assign a trip product to that information, that will even show up specific to the trip product in Sales Manager when you pull that from the drop-down menu. So some very exciting things there. We've got all of that great information there for you already, but we want to make sure that, we have everything that you might need when you're building these trips. So that's a suggestion that, like I said, we got from a member and we are going to be implementing. It's very exciting.
That is exciting. That's really fantastic. And again, a lot of times our members think, that maybe we have either already thought of this, or maybe it seems a little too crazy for them to even ask. But don't ever feel that way.
Absolutely.
Ask away. We're open to any of these suggestions. There are some times that they're easy fixes. Sometimes we have to put them through the development cycle because they require a little more programming and targeting to make sure that they're going into exactly the location that you need them. But don't ever hesitate to ask us. these things. You know,
Absolutely.
it's really important. And as you can see on the bottom of the screen, if you do have questions or if you do need help with any of this, you email our help desk, which is help@gtonetwork.com, and make sure you do put help in the subject line. That will trigger our system to go ahead and create a ticket and let you know that this is all in process. So that way you can track it as well through the GTO system. So make sure to contact us via our help desk.
And I run that as well. So you'll definitely be in contact with me for a lot of this stuff. And, you know, Jim is right. The possibilities are infinite. It's not so much can we accomplish something as, you know, is this for the good of the community of our members? So always worth asking, you know.
Absolutely.
And we'll let you know if it is, you know, maybe beyond the realms of what we can accomplish. But, you know, we just from our office hours last week, we got 2 great development ideas. So keep that feedback coming.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, the same goes with, you know, if you have supplier information that you think, oh, they probably already have it. Don't think that. Go ahead and send it to us. You know, send us the information through the system and we'll take it from there. We'll let you know, and if we get duplicates of things, we get duplicates. It's no big deal to us. But if it's something that we have not received yet, by all means, forward it on. We're all working together as a community. So,
absolutely. Very community-based system. That's the whole point of Group Travel Odyssey. We're all working together to compile the most accurate data so that you can build your trips as easily as possible.
And we're trying to make it even easier. So
every week by week.
And I'm going to give you another plug here, another shout out again for more information on office hours, or if you have questions, contact Taylor at gtonetwork.com. And office hours have been going on for a couple of weeks now.
Just one. We're in our second week now. Yeah, it's been, people really hit the ground running with it and have been coming with some great issues to discuss. So let's keep them going. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, we really like that. And as well as that, don't forget that we have Coach and Go happening on Tuesdays at 2:00 Eastern time. So you can join us on Tuesdays and find out more fantastic information like this and possibly see that fantastic intro again. I'm going to have to watch that on YouTube.
I'm going to have to replay it.
I know.
Just to fully absorb.
Which reminds us, again, on YouTube, as well as watching these live, we do have an archive of all of our media presentations, not only our Coach and Go, but we also have our Destination Dispatch. So Destination Dispatch happens on Thursdays at 2:00 Eastern time. This week, we're going to be learning more about Mobile, Alabama. I don't know why I tripped that. But so make sure to join us Thursday at 2:00 live on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and we'll learn more about what makes Mobile, Alabama. What is wrong with me? Mobile, Alabama. So
hard to say, fun to visit.
Oh, I know.
I've been to that battleship. It is incredible. Downtown Mobile is a great, believe it or not, I played rugby in college. I know, don't look it, but we used to have a tournament out in front of the battlefield every year. It was very cool.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
We're learning even more about you, Taylor.
Little known facts.
Little known, but again, thank you all for joining us. Taylor, thank you for bringing that information to us again.
Absolutely.
And we're going to have more information coming up because we've got quite a few new things and tweaks to the system that are going to be happening. So as they happen, we will be presenting them to you on our GTO Coach and Go. So thank you again for joining us, and we hope to see you on Thursday, and we hope to see you next week. So take care.
Thank you for watching this episode of GTO Coach and Go. We invite you to stay connected with Group Travel Odyssey on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and be sure to check out more of our media, including Destination Dispatch and the Destinations Beyond Expectations podcast. Please visit our website, grouptravelodyssey.com, where you can learn more about GTO and request a demo. Group Travel Odyssey, business without boundaries.